Welcome to ETC Community Call number 8. This is the 11th of January 2022, and this is a weekly community call that we do in the ETC Discord. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, why not join us every Tuesday at about 3 UTC to join this call and contribute to the discussion. First item on the agenda this week is we've got confirmation from Cody, aka Don't Panic Burns, in the chat, and he's going to be joining us next week for a discussion about the multi-sig fund, which is an old and unused but fairly sizable amount of ETC that was donated at various points in the past that was in control under a multi-sig from some like OG ETC guys, and it hasn't been used in a long time. So we're just going to try and figure out if it's still accessible, if people have not lost their keys, and ideally potentially putting that fund to use in the future. So thanks to Cody for agreeing to come on next week. And if you have any questions for Cody, you can put them in the sub-thread that we've put in the Community Call Notes channel. So if you have any suggestions about how to use the funds or how we can, maybe change the procedure and change who's actually responsible for that, or make it so it's easier to do stuff with, then just post your comments over there. Before I move on to the next point, does anyone have any comments on that?
We should definitely make a list of questions. Having him as a guest will be very beneficial, and we should also discuss maybe other aspects regarding the network, because he's our chief architect, so to speak. He's been engaged in most forks.
Yeah, that's a good point. We should just not limit it to only the multi-sig stuff, because there's a lot to pick his brains about.
Does he have any background? I'm just curious. What has he done?
I know he's been around for a long time. I'm not sure exactly what he's worked on, but if you check out his GitHub, I'm sure it will reveal some interesting past work. But he's been working on ETC.
Yeah, ETC. Fair enough.
You should also see the ETC Summits videos. He's there, and you can listen to his presentation.
Yeah, those past presentations are really good, actually. Include a lot of good content, including one that we're going to go over later on. Related to the future calls and questions and ideas of guests, we've created a project Kanban in the community calls repository, which includes a bunch of different ideas and topics and future dates that we're going to try and use to coordinate guests that we have on in the future. And we've already, I believe, got one more lined up. Do you want to mention more about that, Brolal?
Yes, I have talked with Financial Journey. Some of you know him from YouTube. He has done in the past year a lot of videos about ETC. Most of them are related to technical analysis. He's a great guy from what I saw, and he agreed to join our calls. My plan is to see if he agrees to share screens and maybe do a live technical analysis and see how that goes.
Sounds good. Do you think he'll be able to provide any ETC specific insights into TA as a complete amateur to trading?
I'm sure he can't. I'll also do a technical analysis and maybe see where you find the common points.
Sounds good. I was referring to myself as the amateur there, by the way. And yeah, so if anyone has any input or ideas, or wants to suggest some guests and topics for this call, you know where to post your comments. Just a quick update on the voting that I talked about last week, and some of you saw this week in the Discord. that voting round for the new landing page for the ETC website is now concluded, and we're now in the final round of revisions, and there's a short list of 4 designs that have made it to the final round, which will be refined and revealed as a surprise once the website is launched. So thank you for your input and voting if you did on that, and the feedback was very useful, so thanks.
Good to hear. When do we expect the new website to be out? Just an average.
So I'm hoping by the end of this month, but I also said that last month. So it's pretty much. I mean, you can see the state of it right now if you jump into the website channel. There's a link there, and it's basically.
Yeah, I saw that. It looks pretty good, but a little stripped down.
Yeah, it's still in a kind of pre-polished state at the moment, but the content is slowly reaching completion, and once the design's in there, it'll be very close to ready. So I'm hoping that by the end of this month or sooner, things should be good to go.
Awesome.
I do hope it will be up before the halving. That would be great.
When is that again? The next one?
April or May.
100%.
Yeah.
It's really not that far away. Basically, it's just a case of finishing a couple of articles. Okay, so next item on the agenda is that the Mystique hard fork got approved and merged into ECIPs. So that is now confirmed, and we have a date, a block number, shall I say, for Mystique. And I figured I'd just quickly go over what that involves. So there are 2 included EIPs, which are Ethereum improvement proposals. Basically, this hard fork is a compatibility update to make it more similar to the EVM. So there's no ETC specific things, but it's just bringing up to date with the latest, I believe, London hard fork on Ethereum. One of these is EIP 3529, which is an alternative refund reduction to remove gas refunds for self-destruct, which was previously being used by things like Gas Token as a means to basically spam the network. And implementing this EIP will reduce spam on the network by disincentivizing the mining of Gas Token. So it's a kind of like a bug fix, really. The other EIP that's implemented is 3541, which is reject new contracts starting with the OXEF byte. So I'm not sure exactly why it's OXEF. Maybe it's because we don't like Ethereum Foundation. I don't think so. But it means no future contracts shall be deployed on the chain with OXEF prefix. But it doesn't explain more than that. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could jump in and get more details on that. But the block number is planned for February 10th, 2022. Sorry, February 10th, 2022. And the block number is 14,502,000. So yeah, hopefully the new website is ready before then. There were some other proposed EIPs that were dropped from this particular hard fork, one of which being a base fee opcode. So I believe this won't cause any problems with existing contracts, but I do wonder if it needs to be included in a future fork in order to maintain potential future contract compatibility. But that remains an open question, and it'd be great to have one of the protocol devs to be able to answer that.
I know that Diego has argued in the last development call against it, but I don't want to talk about it because I'm an amateur at this stuff.
Yeah, I think maybe a good idea would be to refer to that dev call. I've yet to listen to that, and I was planning to before this call, but didn't have time today. Any other comments on this Mystique merge?
Maybe we should also try to find out if the testing are going well from Bob or the core developers.
Yeah, so the fork has already been implemented on the Mordor testnet on January 10th, and it's also going to land on Kotti on the 20th of January. So I'm sure they're running their full suite of tests on that. But yeah, I'm personally not familiar with the testing process that's required. And previously, I believe AFRI was helping with forks like this, so I'm not sure who's handling that now. But yeah, it would be great to get a protocol dev on one of these calls to chat.
Good idea, yeah.
I believe we did reach out to a couple of them, Brolau, but we did not get a response, right?
Right, I didn't get an answer. I was thinking maybe ask again after the fork, maybe the developers from Corget and Besu can also join a call and have a dedicated client call.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, just before your presentation, Wiedergarten, I just wanted to bop in a quick note on this SHA3 discussion we had earlier today that I found quite engaging, and I think it covered some of the arguments for and against trying to do SHA3 before the next, before the Ethereum merge 2.0, i.e. before they switch to proof of stake and drop a bunch of miners. Basically, I can summarize my position at the moment is that there is a massive benefit of getting a bunch of miners from Ethereum onto Ethereum Classic. It's a not insignificant amount of potential upside in terms of interest and basically people shilling ETC because they're incentivized to, because they have an investment in proof of work. So I think it'd be a massive loss to sacrifice that for something that's not even like fully tangibly a threat. And that threat being that when Ethereum does move to proof of stake, there'll be a bunch of miners that don't have anything to do. And one worry is that they're going to attack ETC by 51% attacking it. I don't think personally this is something that's economically really going to happen. Pulling off 51% tax is not easy. There's a big risk of it not working, and most miners probably are not able to coordinate that kind of attack, I would imagine. And on top of it, yeah, it's not guaranteed to pay off. So it seems like the best thing for miners to do would just be to mine ETC or other Ethash chains. That being said, I think one idea that I would propose at the time of the merge, if it does happen, is to suggest to exchanges to increase the number of confirmations for ETC temporarily, just to sort of mitigate any potential risk of any immediate sort of backlash onto ETC because of the extra latent hash power going around. And this is just an idea I had recently, so I haven't really thought about it too much, but if anyone has any thoughts on that, do let me know.
That's a good point. We'll have to look into that, but I'm not exactly sure if we're going to have all those miners try to fix the tech. Like, they would have to have a motive, or I mean, at least a financial gain, but I don't see too much of an opportunity there. But so is the idea for SHA3 to prevent that from happening, or is SHA3 something that I'm different? Because I have not looked too much. I'm not into EVM as much as I am into smart contracts.
So firstly, with regards to financial interest, there is potentially a way to profit from 51% attacks by double spending. And that typically involves sending or withdrawing ETC from an exchange and then doing a long reorg so that after you've had your deposit credited, you then reorg and then you get your ETC back. So that's basically the benefit of 51% attacking. But there's a limited upside to that. Yeah, there are like hash rental markets that would make it easier to coordinate, but I'm still not sure if it's really viable and profitable on that scale.
All right, let me set up for my presentation. It's pretty brief. I'd say maybe like 5 minutes. I just want to, show people what I'm proposing as for a smart contract, like a general smart contract project for ETC. It's not like classic swap where it's really, exactly what we're looking for. This is a more broad thing that's going to benefit every project and every person that uses ETC. And I think everybody should be in favor of something like this, because it's going to increase the security and minimize trust for all the new projects, especially as you see there's lots of skepticism when a new project comes on. So if they approach my team and I, then there will be ways for us to make sure that they are a legit project and not something that's going to possibly be bad for the ETC community. And if
can I
there's
just jump
something wrong,
in
we can flag that.
really
Yeah,
like
go
for
for
1
it.
second? Just for those listening on YouTube, I'll be posting the link to this presentation in the comments so you can follow along with this.
Yep. All right.
Is the-
So
Wait a second.
Yep.
Is
Go for
there you can record also the presentation if you click the
Yep. Actually, that
web
reminds me.
stream.
I'm going to do that myself. Actually. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So the presentation is about a project called Soteria Smart Contracts. I've created it and proposed it. I have a few people working with me. Classic Swagos is our first, I guess you could call it, client. So I'm working with them. So they're going to help us make a name for ourselves. We're going to be doing audits, helping them with smart contract stuff. So that's going to be our first sort of interaction with the ETC projects. And then from there, we plan on moving and swooping in on all the new projects and all the already ones that exist to make sure that they're all on the same boat. Okay, so the main objectives of Soteria Smart Contracts is to create a sustainable environment for projects and users alike, where trust is minimized through rigorous smart contract auditing. Basically, that just means every time a project comes that is using smart contracts to do, I don't know, a crowd sale or minting NFTs or a token or things like that, in order to make sure that there's no way for them to do a rug pull or just disappear off the face of the earth and run away with everyone's money, which would be really bad for ETC, for the whole ETC community. Luckily, that has not happened yet, so I'm hoping that Soteria can make that make sure ETC has a clean record for the rest of history. Making the creation of new and safer smart contracts more accessible and affordable to all. So one thing that I see a lot of is people starting projects who have no, Solidity experience, and they're like searching up on YouTube. So like literally the guy doing Classic Swagos, I did not really know what he was doing. He does have a background in NFTs, but not like not the code part. So he was trying to figure that out. So we want to make sure that anyone who comes here and who has a really good idea, who wants to execute it, has a lot of other resources, but who doesn't have the resources to make smart contracts, then that's one of the main things that Soteria wants to do, is to create and audit smart contracts. So the next big thing is to show that non-fungible tokens can be used for other things and not only as collectibles. So the main idea for this, I'll talk about in a minute. But it's basically making sure that NFTs, you don't see a lot of use cases except for collectibles, which is the #1 use case, not only on ETC, but everywhere. And I personally think that collectibles it's a fair use case, but it's not that efficient. It can be used for many other things. And then providing much needed support to those who have a hard time creating a long-term and sustainable projects due to a lack of funds or skills/expertise. So one of the main things there is a lack of funds. So if a project comes along and has a really good idea and they need, some money to start like a liquidity pool or just basic funding that they need in order to have a successful project, well, they can come to Soteria and we can look into options to help them with the funds, but also, if they need marketing, stuff like that, we can connect those new projects with people already on ETC to make like a very seamless integration. So so those are the main project objectives. Of course, there's a lot of other little ones, but these are the basic things that I want to achieve through Soteria and the team that I'm putting together. So the goal byproducts. So we will have like branches, which will manage each one of those other main objectives. The first one would be project auditing and safety. I guess you could call it a division, but like a team of people meant specifically for that. So a full smart contract auditing through preliminary checks, developer background checks, smart contract and front end testing, such as making sure that it's the right smart contract that they're connected to, and then like a full report as a PDF, which can be attached using an NFT. I'll say that in a minute. Next would be the community protection division. So if you can see, if you go on Twitter, there's a lot of auditing teams that will do something like this, is where they will keep like around the clock monitor all the projects that they've audited. And if they see, you know, something finicky happening, like a weird transaction, then the first thing that they do is they go and alert the people through Twitter or through social media to ensure that everyone knows what's going on. So we'll have a protocol in place in case something like that happens, and then make sure that notification is as soon as possible when something like that happens. And then the last one would be smart contract creation and technology innovation division. So this is like a more all around ETC sort of thing, mainly for those who need smart contracts, who cannot code them, who need like a team that is affordable and easy to work with. That's what we can do. And then ensuring that those smart contracts are the top quality. So if we do create smart contracts, we will audit them ourselves, which may not seem like the best idea, but because we have multiple people on our team, such as Ross, not just yet, working with a bunch of people, but we hope that Ross, you can join us in our team for smart contract auditing. I'll make sure to run you through all the training for how that might work. Implementation of new technologies to benefit users of ETC. So this is where I'm talking about NFTs as a smart contract audit verification. So say we have a smart contract that needs to be audited. So my team, Soteria, audits it, and you know, we have a full report. But if you were to go on the blockchain and look at that smart contract, you wouldn't see that it's been audited. So the idea here is that we have an NFT from another smart contract sent to the one that's been audited that has a link to the full audit. That way, anyone who goes to see that smart contract, one of the first things they will see is that that smart contract has been audited, and it has it's been checked throughout for all sorts of errors or possible scam stuff. So that's an idea I need to develop on more. Should probably write a white paper specifically for that, but we'll see if anyone has any ideas, because you know, it's a kind of everything sort of stuff. We want to encompass all the ideas that might be coming our way. So if you have an idea that has to do with smart contracts or NFT use case, so we want to help you with that. And then the creation of mini projects to go along with the uplifting theme and etc. That smart con.
Hello? Am I, did we lose Wendergarten?
I think you did, yes.
I saw his battery was low, so I'm guessing his laptop died. Okay, I'm sure he'll come back in a second. Oh yeah, okay.
My computer.
Do you want to continue where you left off? We
Hello,
can,
hello?
Yeah, we hear you. Do
Oh,
wanna
you hear me?
continue where you
Sorry,
left
sorry.
off? We
My
have the-
computer died, so I hope you enjoyed whatever that was. You can go from there. Sorry about that.
Did you have a closing line that you wanted to wrap up with?
Yeah, if you have any questions, you can just let me know. I went through all the main stuff, so yeah.
Okay, and when do you plan to launch this?
It's more of like a gradual type thing. So you know, like a full you know, website and everything like that. I would say middle of February for sure. Hopefully before, we'll have to see. I'm not going to put any specific dates on that yet, but we want to make sure that we have a social medias, a nice website that displays all of the stuff that we've audited, stuff like that. So we want to make sure that that it's a full a project that, you know, has full transparency. So we're going to make sure we take our time to make sure that happens. Any other questions? All right, I'll leave you to it then. Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. So I think that covers all of the agenda that we had planned, and we can move into open discussion. There was a couple of questions in the community call notes channel, which I'll just read out. So Cosmos Squawk asks, has anyone engaged with ETH miners? I feel like there's a lot of assumptions that they are going to come over to ETC, assuming during the merge. Good question. I don't know personally. the thing is, they're not going to have many options, especially if they have invested a lot of money, and not just money, but time and infrastructure into mining rigs, and they're especially large rigs. They're going to be tied to that hardware and their infrastructure for some time to come, and they're going to be looking for something to mine. So I don't think there's many good options other than ETC. I believe like Expanse and Raven maybe, but they're really small compared to ETC. So in terms of profitability, I don't think they'll have many options other than ETC.
That makes sense. Thank you very much.
One thing that worries me is how will they join etc hash, because like there is a back channel where someone discuss with them, and the hash rate will grow gradually, like start growing every day, or will just jump nuts. Currently, Ethereum has 800 terahashes, so that move seems problematic to me if there isn't communication between the community or ETC Corp with the miners.
I would assume the most likely thing is that miners will just switch to whichever pool is the most profitable, whichever chain is the most profitable. And as soon as they stop mining ETH, then there's probably going to be a big jump in hash rate on ETC, which means for a period of time, the blocks are going to get mined really quickly, and the difficulty adjustment will take a few hours, days, weeks to adjust to the new hash rate. So block times are going to speed up for a little bit. But I don't see why this is necessarily a bad thing. Could you, what was your reasoning, Brolau?
Let's say you move 300 terahash on ETC. So the way I see it, it may affect, the chain in a way that may reorganize it, because currently we have a very small hash rate compared to them.
They'll still be mining the same chain, so they will just be contributing to the hash rate as opposed to mining a separate head of the chain. So unless they're intentionally acting maliciously, it can only be good.
My expectation would be in general that first of all, things will be probably fairly chaotic, because it makes sense for Ethereum miners to keep mining Ethereum until the end, because Ethereum is still more profitable per hash than ETC. So it will all happen basically right after the merge, and then people will look for pools. Maybe some pools will have some difficulties because they don't have the capacity on the ETC side and so on. So there might people be hopping around between pools for a little bit. And the next thing will be that, of course, with a huge influx of hash rate, you will see a massive drop in mining returns. This will not only affect Ethereum Classic, but it will also affect all the other coins that also use ETH and or similar algorithms like Ubik, because some miners will go to these, and GPU miners also have the option of going to other coins, like for instance Raven, which seems to be kind of similar in size and profitability to ETC. But for example, all the ASIC miners, they are limited to the ETH family. So that means they can go to ETC, they can go to Ubik, they can go to Expanse, to Callisto, and so on.
Can I ask what is the hashing algorithm for Raven?
I don't recall the name. They have basically their own hashing algorithm, and it's also some mixture of having a bit of memory hardness and also something algorithmic. But it's too different from ETH to be able to reuse specifically optimized equipment like ASICs. But with a GPU, you have enough flexibility to switch. That's entirely feasible. So what will happen next is then that some miners who are currently on ETC are not very efficient, but it doesn't matter because ETC is still very profitable. So if mining profitability drops due to the now much increased number of miners, they will see that the mining is no longer worth it because they pay more on energy or operations and such than they get from the mining. And so this will squeeze out some of the least efficient miners, which will also lead to a reduction of the total hash rate. Some of these miners will try some of the miner coins, but you have to understand that the miner coins, they are a lot smaller than ETC. It's basically, if you think that Ethereum is huge compared to ETC, ETC is huge compared to the others, so to the remaining ETH family coins. So they will also see a lot of disturbance due to the hash rate that is being liberated on Ethereum. So basically, we'll see a reduction of the total ETH hash rate because it will just not make sense for a certain group of miners to continue. And there will probably be a time when the mining revenue is generally quite low because the market's dynamics, well, things move at different time scales. So when the hash rate jumps up, then you get a few blocks very quickly until the difficulty calculation has caught up with this. So at the beginning, its profitability is normal. Then it will drop because the difficulty goes through the roof, and then we can expect that as the dust settles, that the hash rate will be reduced a bit. So this means that profitability goes up a bit, and also hopefully as ETC settles into the position of the Ethereum successor for proof of work, then also we can hope that the coin goes up in value by ETC now becoming the new leader. But this will not happen instantly. So there will be some lag between all those things, even if very optimistic scenarios come true. There will be a time when things don't look good, but essentially you just have to go for this, and then we can expect that the situation will improve. What the equilibrium at the end will be, what kind of mining efficiency you will be able to mine ETC efficiently, this remains to be seen. I mean, it could be that ETC appreciates a lot. I'm certain that Donald will like to see this, and in this case, then the mining profitability could be well, at least comparable to what we see currently. So there's no need for the mining profitability to be basically completely killed by inflation. In any case, whatever the outcome is, things will settle at a point where mining is profitable, and we just have to see where this point will be. And there's currently a margin of about a factor of 5 on the profit on the ETC profitability. It might even get better over time. There's a trend that I've observed in the last weeks, at least, where ETC is slowly catching up with Ethereum in terms of mining profitability. It doesn't mean that ETC is appreciating. This is a separate process that takes into account a number of other factors. But it used to be below 50% per hash, so and converted to a BTC or USD basis, and now it's close to 60%. And historically, it has been around, well, Ethereum and ETC have been very close to each other, and it even one day ETC was leading, the next day Ethereum was leading, and so on. And so I wouldn't be entirely surprised if ETC would catch up with Ethereum profitability in the next months. And that would then also increase the margin that miners have for this hash rate when the hash rate gets diluted. And then we'll just have to see how the coin price evolves and so on. So that's roughly my prediction of what will happen in the weeks and months after the merge. I think there will be a relatively long period where things will be interesting, and then eventually it will settle in and some new normal.
Thanks for the analysis there. That's really good insight from someone that's closer to the mining scene. That was very useful. I guess there's many sort of variables about how things play out. It might even be that the merge is called off, or something goes wrong, or there's a chain split on ETH such that miners stay on some version of the chain. So we just don't know what's going to happen at all. But based on what you've said, it seems like it's a good idea that we try and prepare for this potential massive opportunity, i.e., if there is the potential of a bunch of miners being forced onto ETC, then it seems like it's in everyone's interest to try and shill as much as possible, or shall we say, proselytize the chain as much as possible, for everyone's best interest, really, because miners want to maintain profitability. And I think it could really trigger this snowball effect of getting enough attention and interest in the chain. And I think that the Ethereum Classic story and its fundamentals are strong enough to, really sell a good thing to new people that are getting into the Ethereum Classic story just because of this merge and the miners that are coming over.
Yes, and there's one important detail, and that's the global emission of a coin. And Ethereum has much more emission in terms of basically dollars that are given to the mining community than any of the smaller coins that are also competing for hash rate. So with all that hash rate on the smaller coins, there simply wouldn't be enough emission to make it worth for the miners to go there in large numbers. So this is also a limiting factor. And ETC is in a much better position there. So it's definitely a good idea to let miners know where the right place is, so that they won't have any bad surprises on some of the smaller coins, and also that the smaller coins won't have any bad.
Hello?
As an analysis of the revenue of miners, sorry, I'm coughing because I have Omicron. From block 15 million, when we do the halving from 3.2 to 2.56, to block 25 million, which is the end of the next era, the block payout is going to be 2.048. ETC is going to pay miners 23.04 million ETC in those 10 million blocks, from 15 million to 25 million. And that is more or less in the next 5 years, starting in April, May. And those 23 million at $50, say that nothing happens, and in the next 5 years, nothing happens, and it stays at around 50, it's $1.15 billion of revenue. And if it were to go to 100, it's 2.3 billion in revenue. If it reaches 1,000, or it stays at an average of 1,000 in that period, it would be $23 billion of revenue. So I think that this is what the mining pools and mining companies and mining operations do to know how much to invest in each blockchain. I think that sometimes they don't invest just because the next block is profitable, and then they jump to another one on a block by block basis. I think they usually do, judging by the companies in Bitcoin, they do like long-term projections. I think that the ETC has a good opportunity of attracting those miners from Ethereum, just because of these revenue potentials.
Yeah, and the other thing is that Ethereum Classic is maintaining proof of work, unlike Ethereum. So we can kind of gain additional trust in that sense. I see like big potential for a miner outreach program from the ETC community, just to reach out and say, hey, miners, we're going to look after you. So mine our chain, please.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it seems like there's it's going to be difficult to push for SHA3 before July. I don't see it happening, to be honest. There's enough pushback for it to cause a chain split, unless people are willing to.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Sorry,
yeah,
Ross,
it's not going to happen.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I was saying it's not going to happen. That SHA3, whatever, it's not going to happen by the time July comes around or whenever that ETH 2.0 thing comes around.
Yep. That being said, a good point was raised in that we don't really want everything that we do to be dictated by another chain. And at some point, if Ethereum just keeps delaying and delaying and delaying like it has done for the last, 6 years, then at some point, I don't know, maybe it would be time to consider doing it even before the merge. But it's difficult to tell, and it's difficult to put a deadline in there. So I'll be open to hearing people's thoughts on that.
Yeah, some's got to set ETC apart because ETH is still proof of work. I'm in the mindset that it's not. I'm already in the mindset that it's not. I'm waiting on 2.0 to roll out so I can watch ETH slide. I feel like something about the protocol, someone's going to get like majority control or the consensus is going to get all messed up. A whole bunch of smart contracts are going to get compromised. Nobody's going to know what the true value is, where the records are, something like that.
Yeah, I think switching to proof of stake opens up a whole new category of potential social economic attacks against the chain that just don't exist in proof of work.
Yeah.
But that's the path they chose to take. So by doing nothing, we can take advantage of that. That being said, in terms of technology, SHA3 is definitely an upgrade. And as a means to get there without causing a chain split, one idea is to do it in a way so that you phase out miners so that they don't lose profitability. Instead, they can slowly stop mining ETC as their hardware becomes obsolete, as they would have done anyway, and like slowly switch to a new mining algorithm. And that way you don't piss the miners off and cause a chain split. But that's just one of many options.
I have a
call now, right? Oh, I guess so.
Could you say that again, Ross?
We're on the open call now, right now, right?
Yep.
Free stage. Okay. I think I heard Brother Law gonna say something, so I'm gonna let him speak before I, do my bullshit. So.
I have a question for WebRack. Do you know how much money is invested in Ether's hardware?
Not really. I can. Well, let me think about this. Guess we can do some estimates based on what's say like GPUs and ASICs cost and what global hash rate is there. It's certainly a fair amount. I mean, many millions of dollars certainly, and that's it's not only the miners, it's also infrastructure. There may be some joint ventures with power plants and so on.
And another question: Is it safe to say that at least 20% of Ether's hash rate would move to ETC?
Yeah, I would definitely expect at least that much. My guess would be more around half of it.
Okay, thank you.
And as a percentage of the current hash rate, what would that equate to?
You mean of ETC? This would be about something like 10 to 15 times the current ETC hash rate, I think. Let me check the numbers.
I did a calculation, and if only 20% of the hash rate would move to ETC, that would mean a 7x increase of the current hash rate.
Yeah, so 15 sounds about right if it's 50. That's pretty impressive. And I also wonder how many actual individuals that would also bring over rather than just hash rate, because a lot of miners will bring more than just their equipment, but also their mind share and their influence into the ecosystem. So that could even be more important than the hash rate itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be their influence, and then like everybody on social media. That's what it's going to be. That's going to be the big wave. I'm trying to get ready for that. I'm trying to catch all that momentum.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
Yeah. I think there's a reason for every single person coming over to hit the oracles for some reason or another, whether it be a stable coin or sports betting or the story game thing. Yeah, so that's what I gotta push. That's what I gotta let everybody know about. I mean, I know several people in here know about what I work on, the oracles, the DAO.
Do you want to talk
Yeah.
more about that?
Well, there's not really much I can say. It's probably not most appropriate for me to talk about it right now. I'm not well prepared. Also, I know that I've got a lot of room to improve as far as my presentation of the website and the protocol and everything. I'm focused on just being an engineer, so I got the main meat of it done, and then I just got burnt out doing everything else. But hopefully, I'll have something ready next week. Something to show, something to say, a little bit more put together, and then also lay out kind of like options for how to leverage it with the incoming flux of people. Because I think it really is like, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but like it is, it's kind of a big deal. It is kind of a big deal. Like it's kind of like it's hard to hit this thing. It's hard to compromise the protocol. It's a pretty good DAO where this thing works. So yeah, I'm just waiting on this whole switch over, and not just the switch, but the next pump in crypto in general.
Cool. We're looking forward to hearing more about that in a future call. Thanks for the update.
Yeah.
WP Rec, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I looked at the numbers, and so if about half the Ethereum hash rate moves over to ETC, this would be an increase of about a factor of 20 of the global hash rate. And yeah, I also like to add that indeed, I think one of the big things that will come out of the merge is that ETC will become a lot more visible, and this can only mean good things.
Yeah, absolutely. Stev, I don't know if you need permission to talk, but I don't have permission to let you, I'm afraid. Does anyone here have moderation tools to allow Stev to? Oh yeah, you can talk now. We hear you, Stev. Classic DAO, yeah, go ahead.
Greetings, folks. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, perfect. For now, I'll be going by as Cryptopia. Sorry for any background noise. I'm in a public area, but I'm working on a project to bring a DAO to Ethereum Classic. It's gonna be a collection DAO. It's gonna help fund projects that try to work in the Ethereum Classic. As of now, we're a team of 5 people working on listening to the code and to see how it's possible to create it.
Okay, that sounds good. Do you have any ideas for projects that you're planning to have fun with?
Well, one thing that we wanted to do, after the DAO launches and has been fully looked over by the community, we would want to have a community funded mining facility.
Yeah, you should talk to me about that.
Sounds great. We'll be in talks. I'll send you a message right after this. One thing that we're trying to do we're trying to launch our website as soon as possible so we can give the community more of an outlook on what our progress is. We've actually released a minor, or like a little bit of our roadmap. But we plan to give a more in depth and have a release of a white paper in the coming weeks to months.
That's great to hear. It's always good to see new projects launching on Classic. And we would, of course, be happy to add your project to the website, and feel free, if you have a presentation, to explain more in detail on this call, in a future call. In the meantime, is there like a link that you wanted to share for people, and we can add it to the video description?
Probably, maybe.
Okay, we can sort that out later. Thanks for for bringing this.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You should be able to speak, Steve.
Steph, we can't hear you. I think maybe it's a microphone issue, or it was briefly flashing earlier, but it's not working anymore. I guess Steph is gonna try and rejoin us later. We have an open floor, so if anyone wants to bring anything up, please feel free to jump in.
Regarding to trading, according to my analysis, ETC is entering a new cycle, and in a few days, in 4 days, I think it will enter a new cycle. I can see that on a gun box. Traders know what it is, so we'll see what happens.
Exciting. Yeah, I think 2022 is going to be a very, very good year for Ethereum Classic. I've got a good feeling. Steph, if you had a question, feel free to type it, or otherwise, maybe you can join us in a future call once you get your microphone sorted. Roger. Are there any other questions, comments people want to add?
I think that when ETC multiplies its hash rate to 25 times, I think it's going to be a sinking ship.
That's very good. For those who didn't get that joke, it was a reference to, I believe, Charles from IOHK, who was previously referring to ETC as a sinking ship because of lack of funding and no treasury. So hopefully this year proves all of that wrong and proves that the whole treasury thing is not essential at all. And I have a good feeling that we're going to be right on that.
Thanks for clarifying the joke.
We have some that might not have got that, but I just want to involve everyone in your comedy.
Okay, guys, it's 63 minutes already. I gotta jump out. Thank you very much for organizing the call.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Good having you.
Anyone else for a comment? We're reaching the hour, so unless there's someone else that wants to pitch in, we can wrap it up.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'll see everybody later.
Okay, so we're going to wrap things up now. So thanks for joining us for community call number 8. We're going to have this again next week and hopefully be joined by Cody to talk about the treasury. About the multisig. And yeah, thanks for everyone for coming and contributing, and we hope to continue the conversation. This will be uploaded to YouTube shortly. So have a great week and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.